Guys, welcome back to this place. If you are new, welcome here for the very first time. I'm Carmen, this is Sam, and today we are watching For All Mankind, Season 1, Episode 5, which I believe is like the midpoint of Season 1. So we're almost there. Like, that's wild. Last time on For All Mankind, the Apollo 15 ventured to the moon. Like, we haven't landed or anything yet. I assume maybe this episode will detail that, but we have sent the first woman into space for the United States. It's Ed and some guy that I do not recall his name, and Cobb, what's her first name? Molly, right? They are in space now. And so I assume that we're going to see that and perhaps the next steps into what they're going to do and the repercussions, ramifications, whatever that may occur because of that. We are currently in the race for the base with trying to put the military on the moon, which I can see absolutely no reason that could go horribly wrong for any country to do. So we're just gonna have to see how that turns out. And yeah, I think that I've rambled far too much probably for this intro. So let's just get right into this episode. Okay, look at her.
I'm on TV? Really? I wish you'd told me I'd have done something with my hair.
I like this look. You look gorgeous, babe.
Aww.
Oh my God.
They're so
girl.
cute, their relationship.
How come everything's about her?
Because she's a novelty. You know, first woman astronaut.
Yeah, but Dad's her boss.
Okay, just eat your cereal.
Molly, dear Molly, I have loved space for as long as I
Why
can
is this gonna
remember.
make me cry?
My brother has models of all the Apollo ships, and I used to get in trouble for playing with them. But after you got picked to be on Apollo 15, my dad bought me a model of my own. I named the command module Cobb, and the LEM Molly, after you. Some kids at school say there's no water on the moon, and your mission is a joke. But I believe in you, and I know you will find it. Your friend, Abigail. Anything you want to say to Abby? I'm sure she's watching.
Abigail, I will try not to let you down.
And that is a cut. We're off the air. Good job.
Stars born.
Yes.
Don't forget the little people who helped you along the way.
Just as fast as I can.
So where is it?
To the South Pole. Shackleton Crater.
Let's go. Change the plan. Land us at Shackleton.
Ooh,
That's quite a big change.
he doesn't want to miss out
1,000
again
kilometers worth.
because he didn't get to land on the moon.
No.
He doesn't.
Flight's giving that a big thumbs down. It's too big a risk, and you don't have the gear for that kind of exploration. You'll land at Frigoris as planned. We'll retask Apollo 16 for Shackleton.
Before we left, lab coats told us the ice concentration at Frigoris was around 250 parts per million. So what's the read on Shackleton?
After your survey, it'll be 500 times better.
God.
Then I strongly suggest you folks rethink this. We didn't come all this way just to dig a bunch of dry holes.
He doesn't want to be second again. Or miss out on the chance to be first.
Houston, going off box for a few.
Roger that endeavor.
Let's have a moment.
What happened to stick with the mission plan, no matter what?
The mission's to find out.
Yeah.
We flew over Shackleton in the first place just to get data they're all crowing about.
You on board with this?
Changing a landing site mid-flight? It's dangerous and stupid. I love it.
Of course he does.
You're not the one going down there.
Hey, you want to swap jobs?
Hey,
You know, Glasses is gonna be like, y'all need to do it immediately. We can't let Russia or the Soviets, yeah.
We should do it.
Yeah, see, Glasses doesn't care if it's dangerous or not.
My crew gets the final say.
Well,
Talk to them.
Ed.
We practice for Frigoris. Nobody knows what's on the ground at Shackleton. We get no points if we crash and burn in some half-baked last-minute approach.
That's funny, because half-baked last minute was your entire approach to training.
But she got smarter and changed that.
Sometimes you gotta roll the hard 6.
What's that supposed to mean?
It means no risk, no water from the moon. It's up to you, Cobb. Can't do this unless you're on board.
That's putting her in such a shitty position, though. She's gonna go for it because she doesn't want to let everybody down.
Fuck yeah, let's do it.
What I'm talking about. Atta girl. Houston, this is Endeavor. We are go for Shackleton. Remember what you told me just before launch? Yeah, well, now you're really gonna do something.
Hopefully. Now I'm stressed all over again. This episode is titled Into the Abyss. That doesn't sound great.
It's the kind the council drinks in under the volcano.
Is that a movie?
No, it's a brilliant novel about an alcoholic. But, I mean, he has many redeeming qualities as well. He's kind of a tragic hero in his own warped way, so you should check it out.
Yeah, why don't you come on in, because they're getting ready to leave.
He doesn't fit in with them, just like Molly didn't super fit in with them at first. But I really like both of them, so I hope that maybe he can make them expand their very suburban bubble.
Critics are calling NASA's last-minute change of plan the most foolhardy thing that the agency has ever attempted.
Can we just say, too...
Unjustified risk to the life of the first American woman to journey...
Can I just say that...
Let's hope they're wrong.
This guy who does, like, the news thing is the most monotone person. Like, he never sounds excited or upset or anything. He's just like, this is it.
8 feet. -1. Contact.
Shut down.
They're good, right? They did it. Perfect landing. Perfect landing, right?
Houston, Shackleton base. Seahawk has landed.
They're on the moon.
We're really here.
I have never wanted a cigarette more in my entire life.
You've come a long way, baby.
Good, they landed. And I hope everything else goes according to plan. Okay, it's Danielle's man, right? Okay, so he did make it back from Vietnam. Aww.
Baby!
I'm so glad. I was really worried something bad was going to happen to him.
Fly to the moon.
Are you saying that?
Yes. I have been assigned to Apollo 18.
Oh, you are shitting me!
No, Clay. I'm going. I'm going.
Ooh, I told you. They can't hold you back.
Aw. Ooh. Okay, so...
My Frank knew the moment he laid eyes on me that I was the one.
I don't think Larry is ready to...
Nonsense. Men don't know what they want. I actually had to drag Frank down the aisle.
But you just said...
I knew.
You just said he knew the second he saw you, so why did you have to drag him? Your story's not lining up, Gloria.
You ever dream about Ed augering in? That's what they call it, isn't it? When the
Yeah.
plane...
Yeah, that is what they call it, but the answer is no, never.
Really?
Yeah, I don't dream.
That's weird.
You've never had one dream in your entire
She just
life?
doesn't remember them, right? Because everyone dreams.
Maybe when I was a kid, but I must have outgrown them.
You're a very fortunate individual, Karen. this dream last night. It kicked my ass.
Nightmare.
Try not to think about it. You just have to put it out of your mind for now, okay?
Wait, please, just listen. I need to tell someone who will understand. I climbed to the top of the crater and then I'm looking down and
he's stressing her out.
The ship in flames.
Right?
And then suddenly I'm running down into the crater and stumbling and there's sand getting in my eyes and my mouth. And I call out for her and I get nothing. I can't find her anywhere. So I run around the ship and then that's when I see.
See what?
Her head. It's Molly's decapitated head, and because her helmet's cracked wide open, and their face is blistered and burned, and there's a
Wait, enough. That's enough. We don't talk about these things. Ever.
Okay, so it's not that she doesn't have dreams, it's that she is repressing the absolute fuck out of them, right?
I just can't tell you how proud we all are of what you have done for your country and for women everywhere.
Well, it's an honor, Mr. President. Hope I can bring you back enough ice for a highball. I know how much you enjoy a stiff drink.
Bring back enough for two, and I'll have that drink with you.
Is that a bad thing for her to say, I assume?
I pray that you and your crewmates have a safe voyage home. Thank you, Mr. President.
You know, when he goes to sleep on the moon, I go to sleep down here. And when he gets up, I get up.
Oh.
Thanks.
She just wants everyone to leave. I wonder if Karen actually feels trapped by society and like her station in life, and that's why she's lashing out at people who are going beyond what is expected of them, like Tracy.
Karen, I'm sorry if
Thank you for coming.
Okay.
I don't
See ya.
like
Bye.
that she's treating Wayne like
Wayne.
shit though, because
That guy's just so freaking weird.
he's just normal.
Danielle, welcome to the crew of Apollo 18.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, so Gordo's on that crew too, right?
I threw them in the sentry's face on my way out the door.
A lot of that going on these days. Might have to dig out a few of my old medals, a few faces I'd like to throw them in too.
All right. Maybe slow down on the drinks, Gordo. Oh, he made art out of his dream.
You're painting it?
Yeah, get it out of my head.
Is that what that is for too?
It's a doobie.
No, it's marijuana.
That is a doobie.
Molly's career would be over in a heartbeat if someone found out you were using drugs, Wayne.
Marijuana isn't a drug, it's a natural herb.
Oh, then why is having it a felony?
Because
I don't
people
know.
are
Why
stupid.
don't you ask the liquor lobby?
Yeah.
I see. You think that this is all a joke? That you can just do whatever the hell you want to do? That you can get high and then, what, screw with the straight lady?
You are really something.
Is she almost here to yell?
You know, I thought you were the one person in this whole program who might understand.
Understand what?
That my wife could die up there! Maybe you can pretend that everything is fine, but I can't do that.
Settle down.
Settle
Wayne,
down?
okay?
What? Settle? How do you settle down, Karen?
Because she has
I feel like my
repressed
cerebral
this her
cortex is
entire
gonna
life.
explode, so if I need to paint my nightmares to get them out of my fucking head or smoke a joint to keep from going stark raving mad, that's what I'm going to do.
I don't blame him.
And I tell you what doesn't help. You coming over here and passing judgment on me. That doesn't help.
I think she needs to call out. I think she needs to be called out on that.
Space kept me out of Vietnam.
Of course it did. Well played.
So what's it like?
Combat.
I'm sure it's hell on earth. Like, I don't think, this is casual conversation in a bar.
You experience this savage joy in overcoming the enemy.
Is that what happened at My Lai? I was just asking you what you think happened there, since you seem to be such an expert.
I mean, he's more of an expert than you. He was actually in Vietnam.
I guess you only get to feel that savage joy if you're close enough to see the bullet heads.
fascinating inside. You make another one like that, and I kick your teeth down the back of your throat. I'm right here.
Cut!
I don't think.
Cut! What the hell are you doing?
Look, I'm sorry, baby.
This is my world. My life you're messing with. Get out of here now.
Well, Gordo's also an asshole.
Go. I will meet you outside.
And he literally just got back today, right? Like, I don't know what Gordo's doing.
You're way out of line.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm out of line?
Yes!
He has been home one day. And I brought him here to get his mind off of what he's been through, and you shoved his nose in it.
Yeah. Like, who are you to pass judgment on him when you weren't there? Fucking Gordo. I really don't like him.
I started having a recurring nightmare.
So she does dream.
So you do dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. She just represses the fuck out of it. Like I said.
Big glowing yellow eyes. It's feeding on that. Eating its entrails. But that is still alive.
Oh, damn.
And he's looking at me. And he's so scared. He's so scared like a little boy. And he's calling out to me. And I can't help.
Loss of control. That's what she's scared of. Which is her whole life.
Shit, I'm sorry.
Right?
I'm so sorry. I did not come here to do this.
I think she did.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what you came here to do.
Yes, you did.
You're the only person who she can talk to who is willing to be honest about how fucking terrifying it is to be the person waiting on an astronaut to come home.
Bible says it's bedtime.
How did they sleep?
Houston, I think we're
Ready to call it a day.
Roger, Shackleton.
I'd like to leave the sensors off tonight. Surgeon's okay with that.
Hey, Shane, buddy. I hope you're listening. I did something special today just for you.
I wrote your name on the surface of the moon.
That's cute.
Millions of years. Long after both of us are gone.
That is so bitchin'.
Good night, Karen.
Miss you both.
I miss you too.
Teaching them how to ride a bike. I totally fucked that up.
He's not lying.
Not a bad teacher. Even let him get pissy with you.
Sorry, the cats are freaking out if you can hear.
It's different with Shane.
But isn't it your job to
Different
be
how?
his teacher too? As
Like with the bike.
a dad?
Yeah. Flustered.
And he got upset.
Scared.
He didn't know how to deal with that.
It just made me angry. When Dee came by the house, so give me an excuse to walk away.
At least he's being self-reflective of it. That means that he's capable of changing it, you know?
We are egomaniacal narcissists.
To be fair,
That Columbus was.
I don't think that narcissists have the ability to self-reflective in that way.
Flight, their increased activity is going through their oxygen a lot faster than we planned.
Okay. It's a 3-kilometer walk back to the limb. Let me know when it's time to pull the plug.
Roger that, Flight.
Uh-oh. That's not good. He painted it.
I spent all day on it. It's from your
yeah.
dream.
I know what it's from. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Look, we should get to the TV. Molly's going down into the Shackleton crater right now.
Wait, what? When did this happen?
Come in, I'll explain.
Molly is now out of sight in the crater.
What if there's aliens? Sorry, I just think about like Expanse and the protomolecule and like what if something attacks? It's ice. Right? That's ice.
Houston, are you getting this on screen?
Roger, Molly.
That could be ice.
Folks here are gonna want you to bring that back for testing.
Yeah, I figured.
Okay, hurry up.
Here's a clincher.
There's a cave?
Oh my God.
It looks like we have ourselves a lava tube full of ice.
Get Molly out of there.
Yeah.
Now.
I'm like, she can't really afford to.
Never knew it could feel so amazing just to breathe.
Houston, you guys don't know how good you got it.
Actually, I think we do. Even Margot's smiling.
Oh, wow. Someone get a photo of that.
And they're gonna reattach with the guy that is circling, right?
On schedule.
2 years later. We just jumped forward so far.
28 hours, 33 minutes. Remote guidance is on target. Jamestown base has landed on the edge of Shackleton Crater. Let's leave the lights on for the boys on Apollo 21. How about that? We're on the moon to stay.
1973. Apollo 21, is that what they said? Let me go back. I want to make sure that I have that correct. Alright guys, so I really enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed all of the character dynamics that we saw within it, like Molly and Ed, and Wayne and Karen in particular, because it was really cool to sort of see them allow themselves to be vulnerable. Unfortunately for Ed and Karen, they're not really allowing themselves to be vulnerable with each other, but I'm glad that they're still allowing themselves that bit of vulnerability, and it's good to see. Like, it was good to see Ed acknowledge that he's not the best dad, right? Because I really like him as a character, and the moments like with the bike thing, right? It is frustrating because you want him to be able to like just be patient and like understand and extend sort of this vulnerability to his son. Now, I think that partially it's that maybe his dad wasn't super vulnerable with him. Obviously, I don't know that for sure. I haven't seen his father in this series, so I'm not sure. But it's good to see him be able to understand that he's not great at the dad thing, like he said, and I wish that he could take the aspects of the things that make him a good teacher to astronauts, to like Molly, for example, and be able to apply that to his son, right? Like, he needs to offer his son the same level of like leeway and vulnerability and mistakes that he's letting them have, that makes him a good teacher to them. I hopefully he'll be able to change that. I don't know how long we're gonna stick with these characters. I don't know like how many more time jumps we're gonna have. I really like the characters we have now, so I don't know, it would be sad to lose them. I hope we get at least a little while longer with them, because I do like them a lot. But I don't know. I really appreciated that scene with Molly and Ed where they were both being vulnerable with each other. Like she said, I know that Wayne was terrified and he was pretending not to be, and I let him pretend not to be and pretended that I didn't see through that, and I pretended I couldn't see how terrified he actually was, because if I didn't acknowledge it, then I could still go to the moon, right? And I think that it was interesting that she said the thing about like, here's to selfish pricks, because we actually like push the human race forward sort of idea. It's a very interesting idea. Like, I don't think that it's necessarily, no, it is selfish, I would say. I guess it is selfish, right? To know that this thing that you're doing, that you love to do, that like fills your soul with joy, is bringing terror to the person that you love, but being willing to look the other way and pretend that it's not so that you can keep doing it. I guess that is kind of selfish, right? I don't know that they're egomaniacal narcissists, like she said, because I don't think that narcissists, from my understanding of narcissists, which again, I also understand is a term that is thrown around a lot lately and is a very specific clinical diagnosis. But to my understanding, the clinical diagnosis is more than just being selfish, right? Like, I don't think that if they were clinically narcissists, that they would be able to have like retrospection and understand like where they're fucking up. Because I think that narcissists inherently believe, and I could be wrong, but I feel like narcissists inherently believe that they are always being done wrong to, versus the one doing wrong to anyone else. Yeah. Anyway, that being said, I really enjoyed Molly and Ed in this episode. And on the flip side of that, I really enjoyed Karen and Wayne. I didn't like that she called him weird just because he didn't fit into her like cookie cutter suburban life. Now, I do think that Wayne represents, especially having seen more of this episode, well, all of it, that he represents for Karen being out of control, which is terrifying for her because her whole life is that she can't control it, right? She couldn't control Ed when he was in the army because she had no say in where he went or what he did or anything like that. She can't control him being in space and the danger that that represents because she just has no authority to control that. So I think that Karen feels very out of control in her life. And so the small things that she does, right? Like she very much like makes everything neat and tidy and puts it in this very specific box. I think that that is her way of controlling what she can control in a life that she feels is so much out of her control. And so her not admitting to the nightmares, her repressing everything and like burying all of her feelings and her fears and her terror and all of it, just burying it deep down inside where no one can get to it until Wayne, right, kind of pulled it out. I think that that's also her way of just controlling things, right? Because she has to be able to control something, and so she controls her reaction. She controls her environment. She controls herself, you know? And so I think it was really nice to see that she finally let go of a little bit of that control with Wayne and was able to actually have just this open and honest conversation with him where she could say, this is what terrifies me. Have someone listen to that. Have someone validate that. And then feel a little bit less alone in that world, right? Because she said when he first told her that, oh, like, we don't do this. We don't talk about this ever. So I think that that's a culture that she inherited from other astronaut wives, maybe other military wives. Maybe that's the way that they got through it. So she learned that's the way that you deal with it. And so here comes Wayne, who just overtly expresses how he feels, right? Like, he's not hiding it. He's not sugarcoating it. He's not repressing it at all. He's just like feelings all over the place all of the time. And I think that that really scared her at first because she's spent so long not doing that. And to see him be so free was, I think, just really scary for her because it was it let her control slip, and she was like, oh no, like I could be honest about these things. And so I think that her then reaching out to him later after he left and trying to find solace in being able to share their shared terror with each other, I think was a really beautiful evolution of her character, right? She still does bother me a bit with like the way she treats Tracy and the way that she acts about women in general. But again, like I think I said this during the episode, I think that that could just be she doesn't feel like she was able to do these things. I don't know that she necessarily wants to, like, be an astronaut or anything like that, but I just think that she either, the choices I think are either she's brainwashed by the beliefs of the time and she's like, no, a woman's place is in the kitchen, taking care of things, being the person who makes them have a house worth coming home to, sort of situation, right? Or she does feel trapped in the role that society has given her, but she has no recourse for going outside of that role, because she doesn't want to be an astronaut, because she doesn't want to do X, Y, and Z, because she cares about appearance, you know, for whatever reason. I think that she could be lashing out at Tracy because Tracy is depicting a kind of freedom to her that she is jealous of, right? That she gets to sort of chart her own course now and make her own decisions and have her own job and her own life that isn't just defined by I take care of my kids and my husband, you know? So I wonder if it's that, in which case I hope that we can further explore that, like we further explored her need for control and how it's hiding all of the terror that she constantly feels because her husband is either in space or there's the chance that he'll go back to space. And if not, then he wants to go back to the military, right? So it's like she's just living in this constant state of like either supremely worried about him in that moment or supremely worried about what will happen later. So, yeah. What else? I talked about this a little bit in the very beginning, but Abigail's letter to Molly, I just think was so beautiful. It made me cry. I think it's really important to have representation. Like I said, when people see themselves represented, then they believe that they are capable of doing the things that are being represented, right? So a woman astronaut, a black woman astronaut, you know, like these things are very important to be represented because it shows little kids that they are capable of seeing themselves in these roles that they never imagined themselves in before. And it's, you know, allowing people to expand and be more than they previously dreamed, right? So I think that that's why representation of all kinds, you know, is so important. Like to see people who look like you do things that are considered like amazing is always an amazing thing. Every episode that we deal with Gordo more, I like him less. So he really bothered me in his interactions with Danielle and Clayton in this episode. In particular, like one, he's trying to meet with her. Sure, they're at a bar, whatever, but he was like just getting sloppy drunk. Then he, who it seems to me, based off the conversation, you can correct me if I read it wrong, has never actually been to war, is then commenting on this man who has been to war and what he's been through and judging him for that. Also, kind of seemed like Clayton implied that Gordo might be a draft dodger. I don't know if I read that correctly either, but that seemed to be the implication when he was like, oh, that's convenient, you know, that you didn't go to Vietnam because you were an astronaut. Also, I understand, or at least I think I understand, that the sort of implication here in their conversation was the judgment of soldiers by people who weren't there when they got back from Vietnam, right? I think I might have touched on this a little bit earlier, but I don't think I ever like flat out said it, like when he threw his stuff back. I know that Vietnam was a very, very touchy war, I'll say. A lot of people thought that we shouldn't have been there in the first place. A lot of people, I believe, again, correct me if I'm wrong, that it was the first televised war where we really saw what was happening, and that made a lot of people see the reality of what war is, and a lot of people didn't like it, you know? So there was lots of protests, there was a lot of hatred for soldiers. I know that a lot of soldiers suffered from dealing with the public when they got home, being called horrific names. It was very much like public sentiment was not on the side of the soldiers at the time, right? So I think that this conversation is meant to sort of depict that with Gordo and Clayton. However, it doesn't make you respect Gordo for having these beliefs, because of the way he does it is in a way that you're like, it's bold of you to judge someone when you haven't been in their situation. You know, like, easy for you to sit there and be like, you did the wrong thing, you're a bad person, X, Y, and Z, when you haven't been in their shoes, you haven't been in their situation. You don't know what you would have done because you weren't there, you know? And I think that because it's Gordo and he has sort of a history, of being an asshole, that it makes it less sympathetic. Also, just like the way that he phrased things was very combative, right? He's like, oh, I assume, I don't know that much about Vietnam, but he was like, oh, here's this very controversial battle or place that something horrific happened. How do you feel about that? You know, versus just, also, like, can we talk, like, this is a soldier who came home today, at most yesterday. And you're like, oh yeah, how was the war? Like, he went to the fucking mall or a concert or something. Like, this isn't Woodstock, okay? He went to Vietnam. I don't know. You guys know what I mean? Like, I find Gordo off-putting a lot of times. And in that conversation especially, he seemed incredibly disrespectful. All right, so the last two things I want to talk about real quick is they found ice. They found it. And then they have created their first lunar base. It is 1973 now, Apollo 21. So I guess we missed Danielle's mission with Gordo. I wonder if they'll talk about it and if we'll hear what happened there. And they have named it Jamestown Base. So we are 2 years in the future, and I'm curious as to what has changed, maybe what stayed the same, what we're going to see in the next episode, and how does this mean that America won the race to the base, right? If this is the first lunar base, since it's called Jamestown, I can only assume that it's American, and they made it seem like it was. So I assume that means we won, but I guess we'll have to watch the next episode to find out. If you guys want to watch the next episode right now, you can over on Patreon if you're watching this on YouTube. While you're over there, you can also watch my entire full-length reaction to this episode and all the episodes so far of For All Mankind. I'm sorry if this episode was a little bit, I feel like I stuttered a lot and I don't know how coherent I was, so hopefully it wasn't too bad. Anyway, I hope to see you guys next time for more For All Mankind. Until then, bye guys.